Welcome to the Global Health Catalyst series. I'm Vivian Kopsinger-Birchall, your host, and with me are two distinguished gentlemen, Dr. Lowe and Dr. Toyang. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
And thank you very much, too.
Yes, I'd like to invite you, starting with Dr. Lowe, to kindly tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you do, and really how, then we'll start from there and we'll move to Dr. Toyang.
Right. Well, I am a medicinal chemist by training, and I have had over 50 years of research in the field of medicinal plants. And I have made, I think, significant progress, particularly since Ngeh, Toyang joined me over 10 years ago. We have made fantastic strides.
Dr. Toyang, would you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you very much, Vivian, and good morning again. I know Dr. Lowe didn't say he's the executive chairman of Flavocure Biotech, which is one of the many companies that he is chairman of and that he founded. And I am the chief executive officer of Flavocure Biotech based in Baltimore, Maryland. My background really, is in the area of drug discovery and development. And like Dr. Lowe said, we have been working very hard, over the last 10 years, looking at medicinal plants, isolating molecules from those plants, screening them for bioactivity. And we have found some very exciting molecules. When I say molecule, is what really becomes a drug later, and then developing them, through all the different steps in science, to really make them become a drug candidate. And we are very excited now that we have a drug candidate in the name of Caflanone that we are about to take to the clinic. And it's so nice to chat with you today.
Well, this is fantastic. First of all, I want to say congratulations to the both of you on getting clearance for Caflanone to get into the clinical trials. That is a huge step. But before I get there, I wanted to just point out that for all the work that you have been doing, you were recognized by the Global Health Catalyst with an award just a couple weeks ago or so. What did that mean to you, Dr. Lowe?
Well, I think it's fair to say that I have received several awards before, locally, regionally, and internationally. So it wasn't the first award that I got, but it was special for two reasons. One is that it's for cancer research and development, which is near and dear to me, because I've seen so many friends and colleagues and family members who have been impacted by this. And secondly, Africa and the diaspora, the men in these areas have been suffering in many ways because of prostate cancer. And of course, we see now that pancreatic cancer in the next, I think it's said in the next 10 to 15 years, will move up to be the third largest problem in terms of cancers. So we are in the present and we're moving into a more difficult future. And of course, problem with pancreatic cancer is that usually by the time it's diagnosed, you're ready to die. And therefore, it's a matter of finding new diagnostic tools to make it known earlier. And secondly, to find the type of therapeutic inputs that can make the quality of life be improved, as well as increasing the lifespan of people, which is ultimately what is expected of drug research and development.
Absolutely. So it's a great segue. And I'll start with you, Dr. Toyang. Getting back to Caflanone, how long did this approval process take? And let's start there because, as Dr. Lowe alluded to, the process of a clinical trial is painful from just what he described. So can you take us a little bit into what that process looks like, and then we'll pick it up from there.
Yeah, thank you very much again, Vivienne. I actually, before I go into how long the process took, I just want to at least indicate why we went after Caflanone and what the IND was filed for. Really, I mean, like Dr. Lowe said, it's a long and tedious and expensive process. And that is why a company like ours and most companies also, they select, one, the disease that they want to go after, and then two, they look for the drug that can really attack that disease. So once that has been said, then you begin the process now of running so many different experiments. In our case, we selected pancreatic cancer. And as we know, pancreatic cancer is a very devastating disease, which affects about 60,000 people in the US annually. And out of these, about 40-something thousand of them will die. Globally, you have about 500,000 people annually that are also affected by pancreatic cancer. And the sad story is that out of these, at least 80 to 90% of them die, because about 450,000 of people die of pancreatic cancer annually. So this really paints a very sad picture that makes it very urgent for us to go out and then try to discover a drug for. So if you just look at how long it will take, you will not even want to go there. But what really motivates us to go after the drug R&D is because we see that there is a problem that needs a solution. And so we found Caflanone to be one of the solutions. I know it is already said that right now, pancreatic cancer represents only 2% of the different cancers in the world. But unfortunately, they cause 5% of the deaths. So which means that it is disproportionately, causing people to die compared to the number of actual cases of pancreatic cancer in the world. Yeah. So the process for us to go into our R&D and how long it took, the process really is one whereby it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. I mean, that is, no one has found a solution for that yet. And that is why there is no cure for pancreatic cancer. There's no cure for any cancer, as we can see, because right now, everything is just about managing and helping to extend the lives of people, that have cancers. So the process really is that when you find, what we consider our needle in the haystack, which in this case is Caflanone, we did not take pancreatic cancer cells and then we run the pancreatic cancer cells in experiment alongside with our drug. And then we see the activity, and we found some very exciting activity. This was done, in collaboration with our partner institutions, some very big academic institutions. All of that was validated. And then with those results, we were able to go to the FDA first to say, hey, we have something here that is promising. We would like to have an orphan drug designation for this. And the FDA reviewed the data and gave Flavocure in 2019 an orphan drug designation for Caflanone for the treatment of pancreatic cancer. The orphan drug designation was really an instrument mandated by Congress that puts in place certain, incentives for companies to manufacture drugs or to discover, develop, and manufacture drugs for diseases that affect less than 200,000 people a year, because everything in business is a game of numbers. And so if they don't have enough patients for a particular disease, nobody wants to put their money there. So Congress say, hey, we'll give you an incentive if you are able to develop drugs for this small population of patients, which means less than 200,000. There are many incentives. I will not go into that now, but that motivated us more and encouraged us to keep moving along. And we now were able to begin the studies that they normally would call investigational new drug development enabling studies. That's what we call the IND. And this IND really looks into good manufacturing practices. And then we have to screen in rats and dogs. So these are steps that took us months. And unfortunately, COVID came in between also. So you can imagine that it took us even longer because our timing and expectation were really that we'll be in phase 1 clinical trials by 2021. Latest, but here we are, we just got the IND clearance by the FDA, this year. So it's a process that requires patience. So that was a long answer, but I hope that I did answer your question. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the more I hear about this journey, the more I say congratulations again for this milestone. And, getting back into the clinical trial, and maybe I'll start with Dr. Lowe. How long will this clinical trial take? Yeah, I'll just start there.
Okay. There are actually 3 phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1 is all about safety, where Dr. Toyang left off. Safety, because as far as the FDA is concerned, that's one of the most important things. Once you've completed phase 1, which could be, depending on the complexity and the number of patients, you could do that anywhere between 4 to 12 months on average. And then you have phase 2, which is about efficacy. And this number, by the way, the phase 1 is usually a very small number that you use, relatively small number. But when you go to phase 2, which is about efficacy, you could multiply the number of candidates based on the statistician's recommendation by multiples. And once you get there and it's satisfactory, you now have safety and efficacy. You're well on the way now to commercialization. Now you get a phase 3, which is really additional processes related to phase 1 and phase 2. In other words, is a larger number of candidates that you have in phase 3, and you're looking at safety and efficacy. And that could take anywhere in the region of 1 to 3 years. It all depends on getting your candidates and where you'd want to be. But once you get into phase 3, you're really looking at marketing. You're looking at monetization, as they would say. And lots of things can come on board positively to help you to move forward and achieve your goals. So that is the situation. So to go from phase 1 to phase 3, it all depends. There are many things that could make it longer rather than shorter. You're looking at anywhere between 1 to 3 years if you're lucky. But depending on other factors that might come in the discussion, it could be much longer. Because you're dealing with science and you're dealing with requirements from the FDA. So there's a lot of uncertainties that could creep in as you go forward.
And how do you select the candidates for the clinical trial? Is there a particular criteria you guys are using?
Well, I thank you very much, Vivian. Yes, so the selection of the patients, really, there is a protocol that we submit to the FDA. That protocol indicates who will qualify, to be in a clinical trial and who will not qualify. So that is a document that is scrutinized in detail by the FDA and by the doctors that will be seeing the patients when they come in. So all of this information is going to be on clinicaltrials.gov very soon. We are just about completing, the registration of the clinical trial with clinicaltrials.gov, where patients, relatives of patients can go there and see the information, see the hospital where the clinical trial will be taking place, and then be able to reach out and make an appointment, to reach out and then see if they can be enrolled in a clinical trial or not. So we have really, even though we have not opened the clinical trial yet, for recruitment, we have received a number of inquiries. I would say hundreds of letters have been coming, people calling, asking if they can enroll. We told them, no, not yet. There's a procedure that we have to follow, which is regulated by the FDA. And so they have to wait, and hopefully they will not be late, to enroll when we do open the enrollment and the treatment of candidates.
Right. Which I want to take us back a little bit to the Global Health Catalyst. Some of what the experience you've gone through, at least coming to this phase of clinical trials in the United States, what are some of the best practices, lessons, or, experiences that, you could perhaps share, or you're already sharing with the Global Health Catalyst? Basically, what I'm trying to say is, in what ways can your experience inform or collaborate with the Global Health Catalyst?
I think the first experience is what we call collaboration. Collaboration, not in a loose sense that you're going to say, hello, we're doing this work and we want to share information with you. No, it goes much broader than that. Unfortunately, because of our situation, I don't think the diaspora, which should have really kicked in by now to help us to raise funding to move forward and to contribute, is there, because as you know, I said before that these cancers that we're dealing with are growing and becoming more devastating as time goes by. And we need to get more people on board to help us to fund and move forward as quickly as possible. So for me, collaboration means not just sharing data, but experiences, getting financial support, and bringing forward the best practices and experiences that are out there that we have seen and experienced. So let me ask Ngeh if he would like to pick up from there.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I think that Dr. Lowe has really already nailed it. The most important thing is collaboration. And I mean, the Global Health Catalyst provides, a fantastic platform, for networking and meeting new people, learning about their activities and their research, and then looking for ways, to forge win-win collaborations. I can really see that we have reached where we have reached in great part, thanks to the membership of Flavocure, in the Global Health Catalyst, because that has really been part of the inspiration that we've had. Because I mean, you go there, you see everybody comes and they present all this data about these different cancers killing people all over the world. And so what are we doing, to find a solution? And so it makes it a lot easier to turn around and say, hey, let's collaborate, because here is a problem that needs a solution. And I am very happy because I see that most of the members of the Global Health Catalyst are always very open and willing, to share information, to collaborate, and to help one another, reach that goal. We know we're not there yet, but I am sure that with the recent announcement and, with what we have ahead, we will certainly get more support to reach our target.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is so amazing, inspiring, and I'm so honored to really have the opportunity to interview the both of you. Your contributions to science, to cancer treatment goals, and I can't even put a word to it, but it's critical, it's needed, and it's been a painful service, a labor of love on your part. So thank you. It's the best that I can say right now. But before I wrap it up, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you would like to tell our viewers? I will start maybe with Dr. Lowe and then Dr. Toyang.
What I would respond by saying is that you give me a wide open sheet of paper to write down all these myriad of things that I would love to see. But for me, the whole business of collaboration, I think, is critical. And I'm also very strong on the diaspora and the help that Africa needs, as well as my own country, Jamaica, and the Caribbean. So that's one area. So we need to get an active involvement there because we do have good candidates there, good facilities, and we have great researchers which have been overlooked time and time. So we need to tie those down. Secondly, although this cancer research problem is not about making money, and it pains us, and I think I'm speaking for Dr. Toyang when I say our primary interest and goal is not about money. It's to finding, if not cures, at least good management for the cancers, so that people's lives can be extended and they can also be able to live quality lives. But apart from that, the next important thing is financial support, because without that, we're not going anywhere, because every step of the way involves financial requirements. And without that, we can't achieve very much. And we are not asking a lot from different people, but as we will see from the site, which I hope Dr. Toyang will mention, we have different mechanisms for people to come on board and support the research and development and feel good for doing it, and at the same time see that progress is being made, and we as a team can be happy and they can be happy to know that it's not only a matter of making quality of life better for people and extended lives, but also there's a possibility of getting rewards for their investment. So that's what I'd like to say and leave it there, and ask Dr. Toyang if you'd like to comment further.
Well, thank you very much, Vivian, for giving us, this opportunity, to chat with you and to share our knowledge and information with colleagues around the world. Right now, Flavocure is beginning the phase 1 clinical trial, or about to begin the phase 1 clinical trial for pancreatic cancer. That is just our first indication. We have other cancers that we are also looking at, but we must have one, that leads the way. And so we believe that once we begin the phase 1 for pancreatic cancer, we will be able to start looking at other cancers or other indications that we have seen some significant bioactivity of our molecule against these cancers and other diseases. So collaborating with Flavocure in any way, shape, and form, is going to be a very rewarding experience because we have a lot of exciting things, that are already happening and more are about to come. So we invite, collaborations from everyone, that has anything that they can share with Flavocure, and we can look at ways to work together. We know that we'll be coming out with more information. We just had a press release go out the other day. There are other things that are happening that we'll be sharing with the public, in due course. And we would love to come back and share some more with you directly, and then you can share with the audience also. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Like I said before, it is truly an honor to have this moment to just hear from the both of you. Thank you so much for making the time. Thank you for your investment in healthcare, in cancer research. On behalf of the world, I say thank you. And on behalf of the African diaspora, we know pancreatic cancer, I think, affects Black people a lot. So thank you on every Black person out there. So thank you. It's the best.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your time and support.
Absolutely. And to the viewers, thank you. Look out for more videos about anything healthcare, cancer care, cancer moonshot, or global health catalyst. But for now, thank you for watching Healthcare Blind Spots. Until next time.